Okay. It looks like we're going live now. Hi, everyone out there. This is just a couple of minutes beforehand. If you can hear and see our screen, Geeks on Tour, we do invite you to please give us a heads up that everything is working, because even though we can see some things, we cannot be sure that it's going out live. We still have another minute or so before we do go live, so I just want to give everybody a heads up. And let's take a look at that.
Okay.
I'm hearing an echo.
I know. There you go. I have that speaker. I'm watching. I'm just being a viewer over here.
Excuse me. All right. So. Okay, Michael Dorsey says he can see and hear us. That's good. David Cross is ready to learn. He's ready to go.
And
hey, guys.
Responding to Lewis Smither, yes, you are in the right place.
And it is 12 o'clock. And guess what? It's time for What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with the Geeks on Tour. And that's us. Hi, everyone. I'm Jim, and together with my wife, Chris, here, we're Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you?
It's not.
Yeah. Do you have questions about your Android or iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks who teach, and we think the best way to learn is in a little bit at a time on a regular basis. And that's why we came up with this weekly show. You're hearing a little bit of an echo?
No, I'm not.
Okay. It's just my ear.
Okay. Well, so where are we?
We are at that favorite RV park, our new favorite RV park, Leaf Verde, because there is a Verizon tower right in the park. So, Buckeye, Arizona. But we are leaving today. We took a great hike in the desert yesterday, and leaving today to go to Palm Creek for another Geek Week.
So we have a Geek Week at Palm Creek. That all rhymes. Isn't that cool?
And we posted the details on our Facebook page, right?
It's on our Facebook page. It's on our village page. It's on a couple of places. And our calendar for all of those seminars is on our website at geeksontour.com.
Right.
So the way we do this show is we have some quick tips. Chris probably has a couple here. And then she'll do a beginner's lesson with something that we think is important for all beginners to know about their phones and tablets. And we'll start with the iPad, and we'll show the Android in that segment, too. And then I'll do the app of the week. I'm doing Skype this week. Skype, just a little piece of it, because it is so big. So we'll talk about video calls. And they are just so cool, and we use that a lot. And questions. If you have questions, please put them in the comments there on the Google Plus event page, if that's where you're viewing this, or on the YouTube page, and we'll try and get and answer those during the show.
And I don't know that you said our beginner's lesson today is about data usage.
I didn't say that.
Okay. What is it?
Our beginner's lesson is about data usage. Okay. You want to turn that light on and see if that helps? Just push the button. Yeah, that gives us a little bit more light. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, then you'll get information about these shows as they come up. Here's something. We talk about the cloud all the time, and here's a little cartoon I found. Are you sure this is how we get data into the cloud?
Yeah, I like that. No, I know that it should be, no, this is how you do it, with a quadcopter.
Okay, so did you want to do a tip first?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so back up.
Okay.
back up one to the tip. Now, some people did say that they're hearing a little reverb or echo. I'm not anymore, so I think we're good. But if you,
Well, let's see.
I think mine sounds okay.
Steve Walker says a lot of echoing,
Oh,
and I don't know why.
not hearing it in mine. Shall I just turn this one off?
Yeah, turn the speaker off anyway.
The speaker is off. Okay.
Okay. How about this one? That one has.
It's in my ear.
Okay, so that shouldn't be echoing.
Yeah.
And I don't hear any echoing.
I don't hear any echo. I think we're good. So, back up one more. Don't want to. More. Yeah. So we just didn't. The tip I want to do for today
It's on you anyway.
is on taking a picture and how do you get that picture. So, smile. So I just took a picture of Jim with my iPad, and this works the same on the Android phone.
The flash didn't go off.
There is no flash
Oh.
on my iPad. That's something that took me a while to learn. So how do I get that picture from the iPad to the computer? I do it using Dropbox.
Hmm.
And so in a minute, you'll see on this computer, we can switch back to this one.
Yep.
So, yeah. Now, it takes a couple of minutes. So I took a picture, I took a picture before, I want to show the computer first. So
Okay.
I took a picture right before the show started, and I want to show you that it is on this computer now. So if I just open up my Dropbox folder, and this folder is on the computer, and go to Camera Uploads, then there is the picture I took just a few minutes ago. How did it get there? It did that via Dropbox. And now I'll show it on here. Okay. So the picture was taken with the iPad. And you see it right there. And that second one I took will be on this computer in just a minute, as soon as Dropbox gets there. Dropbox is a website and an app. So the app is downloaded on my device. And then it's a setting. So I'm in my Dropbox app, and I tap on Settings, and Camera Upload is on. Now, one thing, I decided to show this today because this has a lot to do with data usage. Notice it says use cellular data and background uploading. So what that is doing is it is using your data allotment from your cell provider. And that could be a lot, because these pictures can be pretty big. So I love using Dropbox, but if you don't have the cellular data available to you, if you have a small data account, which is the topic of our beginner's lesson, then you probably don't want to use this. You can connect your iPad to the computer with the cable, and you can transfer pictures that way. But one big point I want to make is Dropbox is not the only system that can do this. So let me take you to Settings.
Hang on a second, Chris. Is the microphone off on that? Go into the show. Turn off the microphone there.
There we go.
Yeah, I bet you that was the problem.
Okay.
Okay, back to the show. Okay.
All right, glad you made
All
us
right.
go there. All right, so now
Sorry
I'm looking
about
back
that.
at the iPad, and if you have iCloud turned on, then if you have iCloud Photos turned on, then your photos are being transferred to the web from your device again, once with Dropbox, once with iCloud. Google Photos can also automatically transfer all your photos to the cloud. Facebook can automatically transfer all your photos to the cloud. And Verizon has a cloud service, so does AT&T. So without knowing it, you might be using your data services 4 and 5 times for transferring your pictures to the cloud.
Wow.
So that's just something to really be aware of. Now, all these services start out saying no. Their default is no, don't do the transfer. But how many of you, when you install an app, just say yes, 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 yes to every question that comes by? You know I do. And if you did that with Google Plus and with your Verizon and with your iCloud, then you are using a lot of data for uploading pictures, and you may not even know it.
Yeah. Real quick here, Bob Costello has a question. Do you think Verizon will ever offer unlimited data plans without hijacking your plan when you purchase a new device? We went through that, Bob. And I don't know if that's really going to happen anytime soon because of the way it, data is just so important and it's everywhere now. So unlimited plans cost the providers a lot of money. I think eventually it will be all the time, everywhere on, but it's not there yet. So it'll be a while before they offer any unlimited plans again for data that you can share. Now, there are some unlimited plans coming out for your devices, but you have to stay on that device.
Yep, but as you always say, internet services are only getting better, faster, and bigger. So
and I truly believe that, yeah.
We just don't know how long it'll be. But I understand that Google is now getting into the ISP space, or at least it's rumored. It's rumored.
Oh yeah,
and once they get into that,
yeah,
it'll get cheaper
and better, faster.
Meanwhile, we've done everything possible to keep our unlimited plan.
Right. Okay. Back to the slideshow.
Okay, I'm ready for beginner's lesson now, and the beginner's lesson is
data usage.
Data usage.
And data is internet, and that's just really key to this whole discussion.
Yeah, it's not like so, and it's measured by usage, not by time. Yeah, I just want to hide that. There we go. It's metered. So a little bit of data is like just a dripping hose. A lot of data is like a fire hose on full bore, and it has nothing to do with how much time you're using it. It is measured, and it is measured by the gigabyte, and it's charged amount of money per the gigabyte. So this is just a picture to give you the idea. These are some sample plans, and notice that voice is one line item, messaging, meaning text messages, is another line item, but data is a separate line item, and it's really only data these days that is costing the money.
Really? And they're even bundling unlimited voice and text messaging in a lot of these plans that are out there, and data is still separate, and that's the gotcha, I think.
Yeah, so just for a sample, here's Verizon. It says if you have a share everything plan, that means you have more than one phone in your family, and you're sharing a plan. $110 a month gets you 4 gigabytes, and then it's $15 per gigabyte for if you go over your 4.
Uh-huh.
So that's not anywhere near as bad as it used to be. $15 per gigabyte, no huge deal. We used to hear of people having $1,000 overage fees. All right, and notice mobile hotspot is included with the ones that have a limited plan, but if you have an unlimited plan, then using the hotspot will cost you extra. So how much is 1 gigabyte of data? That's the first question everybody asks, and there is no good answer. So it kind of has to come from experience, but here's some samples. You could do 60 hours of just straight web browsing for 1 gigabyte, 350 pictures, 15 hours of streaming music, or only 1 to 2 hours of high quality video. There's data calculators. I'm going to take you to Verizon data calculator. So just write this down, vzw.com/data calculator. And these are kind of fun. It's still not really accurate. They are a rough estimate based on a lot of data and getting it averaged, but you can play with it. So it says add a device over here. So let's say we're using a smartphone and we want to calculate how much data we're going to need. And we say we do about 25 emails a day, and we visit 25 web pages per day. We stream some music, let's say an hour a day. Notice that the graph is going up over here. So this is telling you how much data you would need for a month based on what you're saying. Now, streaming video, this is where it's going to really kick.
Watch this graph here.
If I say that I watch an hour of streaming video a day, watch the graph. Boom. All of a sudden, now I'm up at 9 gigabytes. So I say, well, okay, maybe it's not per day. I can say per month, and that I watch 60 minutes per month. Okay. So you get the idea. You can play with these and upload and download photos and video calling. So this would be like Skype, which Jim's going to talk about. Let's say that we do use video calling about 15 minutes per day, and that has definitely upped our needs.
So video is the big culprit when it comes to data.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, how much are you using? Only your cellular provider knows for sure. We'll show you how you can look on your phone to see how much you're using, but you really need to go to your account at Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile or whoever you use and see what you're using. Now, if you bought your device from a Verizon store, I'll bet you anything that you have this app called My Verizon. And same thing with AT&T. You have a My AT&T. And this is a screenshot of what ours looked like a couple days ago. And notice that minutes is a line item, messages, text messages is a line item, and my data is a line item. So it says that we use 2.465 gigabytes, and we have until March 1 to use whatever our monthly allotment is. Neener, neener, neener.
Don't be nasty.
Ours is unlimited. But yours probably says 2, 4, 10, or possibly 20 gigabytes.
Jolynn Bowler says she lucked into an amazing unlimited data plan when she added a Wi-Fi hotspot on the phone.
Wow.
Truly unlimited, upwards of 200 gigabytes per month and higher.
Wow.
She's awesome. I was unable to upgrade to a new phone and a new plan without losing my unlimited data.
Exactly.
Right, so you might be able to keep the unlimited data if you are willing to pay full price for the device.
Yeah, how much did you pay for your last phone, Jim?
Oh, it was close to $800, I think.
$800. But if you start adding up what our data usage would cost us if we had to pay for it, the $800 is worth it.
Yeah, because we use our Verizon data plan almost exclusively in a lot of places because it is the best speeds available. Even here at Leaf Verde, they have a Wi-Fi that's throughout the park. It's a pay for, so they have support and you can get help if you need it, but their speeds are not so great.
Which brings me to my last little bullet point here, in case you don't realize, when you are connected to Wi-Fi, you are not using data from your cellular data plan. Now, you're still using data, but it's being provided by the Wi-Fi provider, which usually is free, but not always. So what we're talking about in this segment is cellular data, what you are paying for from Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile. And we could talk for hours on it. We have talked for hours on this with different people.
She can talk for hours on all those
I
things.
only have like 15 minutes. So what I'm going to show you is how to check your usage, how to get alerts, how to see what apps are using the most data, how to turn off your cellular data altogether, and a few other little tweaks. And I'm going to do that on both the iPad, ours has a data plan, and on the Android. So I am ready for the iPad now.
Okay.
And where is it? Where'd I go? There we go. All right. And I think I should turn the autofocus off. Lock.
You ready?
There we go. Yep. Ready. All
there
right.
you go.
So here's the iPad, and notice that we do have an AT&T 4G connection. I bought this at an Apple store, though, and they provided me with the prepaid. You know, I can turn it on or off on a month-to-month basis. So I don't have the My AT&T. So what I'm going to show you, how much have I used? Where do I see that? Well, I'm in Settings, and over here on Cellular Data, you just tap Cellular Data, and it tells me that I've used 1.8 gigabytes in the current period. Now, what is meant by current period? It may not be what you think. It's not necessarily your billing period. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here, because that's where it tells me what the current period is. You have to reset. You have to tap this little button here that says Reset Statistics in order to tell it to start counting over again. And I last tapped that on February 5. But that is not what my contract is for. So, therefore, just up at the top here under Cellular Data, the only way to get really accurate what are you going to be charged for is by going to your account. So I can view account, and I have to put in our username and password. It should only take a few seconds. Yeah. So now see, I am going to AT&T, and we will get there eventually. Or you're just going to have to trust me.
Jolene says, I just checked my current data usage, and as of this morning, February 5th through the 8th alone, I am at 35.5 gigabytes. Wow.
Yeah, you're awesome.
You must be streaming a lot of video, Jolene.
Geeks On Tour and password. So, yeah, in order to get your real account information, you do need to get into your account, not just believe what your device is telling you.
Okay. Everybody get that password now?
Hello.
Did you break it?
Probably. Notice that this, there we go. It just took a minute. So this tells me instead of 1.3 gigabytes, it says that I have used 3,119 megabytes. Now, very roughly, there's 1,000 megabytes in a gigabyte, so that's like 3.2 gigabytes. And it says I have a 5 gigabyte plan, so I have 2 left for 3 days. And then I lose it. Is that a, that's something that is so maddening. If you have a per month plan and you don't use all of what you bought, you lose it. They're now coming out with some rollover plans, but they have a lot of caveats to it. And if you want to know details on that, we recommend following the folks at rvmobileinternet.com, and I put that on the Google Plus page.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those guys really know what they're talking about. They wrote the book.
Yeah, that's rvmobileinternet.com, and you can buy their book and join their group and keep up with the latest. So that's how to check the usage. Now, how do you see which apps are actually using that? Well, on the iPad, that's still under cellular data, and you just scroll down. And here is every single app in alphabetical order. So you have to look and find the ones that are using. So the App Store used 5.8 megabytes of that 1.8 gigabytes. And Chrome used 17.4 megabytes. Now notice this green over here. If you say, well, Disney World, I do not want to have that using any data, I can just turn that off and say, that means that app will only work when I'm attached to Wi-Fi now. And Dropbox, there's the Dropbox, used 11.2 megabytes. I could turn that off if I wanted to, or Evernote. But we still don't have very big numbers here. But if you go all the way down to the bottom, you will see a system services. So not individual apps. Oh, and there's YouTube. That's the biggest one of the apps. It had 388. But personal hotspot, 1.4 gigabytes. So that's where I'm using the most of my data usage on this device, is by turning it into a mobile hotspot and letting my computer consume the data from its plan. Okay, so that's how you see each app. You can turn off some apps as far as using cellular data, but you have to go other places. You can't. I mean, personal hotspot. That's what it does. Is uses the data. So that's that. Now, using Wi-Fi, I can say, well, I don't want to use data. I don't want to use my data plan. Oh, here's one other thing that's unique to the iDevices. I'm on AT&T. AT&T has LTE, which is faster. Just like drinking water from a fire hose, you're going to use more data if you are on a faster connection, period. Remember when we switched from 3G to 4G?
Oh, yeah, that was just amazing.
I was so upset because I swore that I did not do anything different on my device. And yet, instead of 1 gigabyte in a week, I was at 4 gigabytes in a week.
It got there in a hurry, too. That was amazing.
So all you can really do there, well, this is kind of cool. I mean, if you disable LTE, but you're still on cellular data, you should be drinking from a smaller flow. But if you want to tell your device, hey, it's only 3 days till the end of the month, and I am at my limit, I cannot use any more, you can just turn off cellular data altogether. Then things are only going to work if you're on Wi-Fi.
Right.
Okay.
There are some rollover plans now that AT&T and Sprint and I think T-Mobile have come out with. It's not on Verizon yet for rollover, but I would expect that they'll probably come out with something. But it's very strange, and you really have to read the information that they give you or talk to the store to find out how it actually works, because it's not really complete rollover the way I understand it.
Yeah, according to the folks at rvmobileinternet.com, it's only available for shared plans, and it's only available for 1 month, and you have to use your existing plan data before you can use the rollover. So, the devil's in the details.
Right, okay.
Okay, other tweaks. There is something called background data. So, for example, if I go to iTunes and App Store, I can say that I can turn off cellular data, and maybe it was in off apps fetching data. So there's this thing called fetch new data, and you can have it do it automatically or by getting it, and so you see that I have mine getting it manually rather than every 15 minutes. That uses less data. Okay, got to get to the Android.
Okay. Get to the Android. Oh, I
Alrighty.
saw where Jolynn says she does a lot of video and she has Google Glass.
Oh my.
So
Oh
I'm sure
my.
that's pretty much of a data hog. That's the Google Glass thing that would be fun. We don't have one of those. Okay.
Okay. And so now on the Android, I want to show you how to check your usage, get notifications, see how much each app is using, and how to turn off data altogether. So on the Android, you need to get to your settings, and I'm going to do that by dragging down from the top and tapping on the little gear. And data usage, right there. Data usage. And
Wow.
it...
I'm just looking at the graph.
Oh, yeah. And it says I've used 3.32 gigabytes because my plan just started on February 1. And you are able in here to set your plan dates, usage cycle. So this one will reset automatically at the beginning of a new cycle. It's up to you to tell it when your cycles are. You can also tell it to limit your mobile data usage just by checking that box. So we have unlimited, but I could still tell my phone I don't want to use more than a certain amount. And you set that by dragging this little red line. Remember when we first got our phones, it turned off data after a certain point.
Right.
And why is it doing that? We have an
And we
unlimited
get these
data
warnings
plan.
on the phone, and what in the world, you know? Well, we had to learn.
All we had to do is come in here and uncheck that limit mobile data usage. Now, but this one's pretty cool. Alert me about data usage.
I think that's what it was doing.
Well, it was doing both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it alerts you. When you have an alert, that's this orange line, and you can drag that up, and it will send you email. It will give you a notification when you've reached that point. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And which apps are using the most? You just drag down and you will see your apps, and they are arranged by the ones that use the most on top. So my tethering, this phone actually is providing our internet access for this show. So,
at least half of it.
and that's done with what's called tethering, or making it a hotspot. Then comes Maps, then comes Gallery. Now, that surprises me, and I still haven't figured that one out. What is my Gallery doing that is using data? Well, I need to go into Gallery and investigate the settings and see what I can find. There is some synchronizing. It's got to be some synchronizing with my Google account. But meanwhile, right here in this data usage screen, I can tap on Gallery, and it tells me that all 0.42 gigabytes of its usage are happening in the background, meaning it's not something I'm doing. It's something that it is doing automatically. Now, hopefully I could find a setting for that, but if I just want to say, don't do that, you can tap this Restrict Background Usage and say, OK. So from now on, whatever that app is trying to do in the background with data, it won't do it anymore. Okay. So then how do you, I'm not going to worry about that since I have unlimited data. I will turn that back on. But what if, once again, you say that you only have a 2 gigabyte plan? I have a friend that I think only has a 1 gigabyte plan. So
we couldn't do that.
Right. Well, she just only uses her phone when she's in a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Okay.
So she keeps Wi-Fi on and turns off mobile data. All you have to do to turn off mobile data is uncheck that box, and it will not use any mobile data anymore. Then how do you get it to use Wi-Fi? Well, you would go here and turn on Wi-Fi. Now, I can't do that on this phone because we are using our mobile data as a Wi-Fi hotspot.
And as soon as you tried to turn on that
it would turn off.
Wi-Fi, it would tell you, thankfully, it tells you that it will turn off the hotspot.
Yeah,
And
I'll do
then,
it. So turning on Wi-Fi will turn off mobile hotspot. Continue. No, no, no. Otherwise, if I did that, our show would go black. So I tap on cancel. Okay, so earlier I talked to you about Dropbox and how that was using data by automatically uploading all pictures. On here, I can go to, and all of these can do that. OneDrive can automatically upload photos. Cloud, that's the Verizon Cloud. I just don't use it. It came with the phone. Can automatically upload. Dropbox can automatically upload. Facebook can automatically upload. And you want to be sure that those are off. So I'm going to show you on Google Plus, because that's one that gets a lot of people.
right.
They install Google Plus, maybe because we told them to, because we do like Google Plus, but you need to be aware. So where is that setting? If you tap on everything, and then photos, and then menu, and settings, auto backup. So I'll tap there, and notice I have my auto backup off. If yours is on, that is probably using a lot of data. Why do I have mine off if I like Google Plus so much and I want my pictures?
Good question.
Because I have Dropbox doing it, so I do not need it done twice.
Okay. Right. And as Chris said, it's very easy to have several of these on, and you're using a lot more data than you need to or expect to.
All right, so if you have a very small data plan, I do recommend turning data off unless you know that you are using it. So data usage, turn that off, turn on Wi-Fi, and connect to Wi-Fi hotspots.
And you'll save a lot on your bill.
Of course, that doesn't do us any good because our Wi-Fi hotspots are provided by our phones. There's a hole in the bucket.
Oh, that's what we do.
Okay.
All right.
That's my beginner's lesson.
All right, let's switch back to the slideshow and see what we can do. All right. Did you get it all? Okay, questions from viewers. Let's see if we have anything new here. Stephen Malcolm was asking, oh, do we remember the RV Dreams rally in Long, South Carolina?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay. Yeah, and Art Darling was asking about the devices sucking up the data now that he's on a faster connection. And absolutely, it does. And I hope we explained it so that
turn
it
off
can be
background
understood.
data, turn off any photo uploading, and just plain turn off data when you're getting close to your limits.
Yeah. So again, most of the time we defer to our friends at Technomadia for rvmobileinternet.com for information on all of these devices and usage and all those kinds of things, because they do a tremendous job of keeping up with this stuff. And gosh, there's so much to do. They're rewriting their book for the third time, or maybe even the fourth revision. Right. So that's crazy. Yeah. All right. Oops. Okay. Okay, I think it's time for the app of the week. Cool. Skype.
I love Skype.
Yeah, how many of you out there use Skype? I think it's one of the neatest apps that are out there, and it's just truly amazing. And it was really one of the first really good phone apps for IP, internet data using voice and then video. Skype works on a lot of devices. It'll work on iPads, iPhones, computers. It doesn't matter what kind of computer you have, a Mac or a PC or a Linux. It'll work on Windows phones. It'll even work on your Kindle devices and or Kindle Fire anyway. And it's available for all of those devices and even from your home phone. I'm not sure how that works. We don't have a home phone, so it's not real good for us. But Chris uses this on a weekly basis. When we were in Florida, her mom is in assisted living down in Florida, and I set up a Windows 8 computer, a touchscreen computer for her mom. She doesn't know how to use a computer anymore, but anyone can go over there and visit and turn on that computer and touch one of the tiles. There are only 4 tiles on the screen. One is for pictures, one is for video, one's for music, and one is called Call Chris. And all they have to do is touch that Call Chris.
One tap.
There's a camera and a microphone on that computer. It's a standalone, one all-in-one, and Chris gets a Skype call. And that call will ring on her phone and on her computer and on her iPad. So whatever device she happens to be using or hauling around with her, it'll ring and she can answer it. This picture here is we were on a hike not far from here, and the phone rang, or the Skype part of the phone rang, and we were out in the desert on this hike, and she did a video and voice call with her mom, who's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, from the Estrella Regional Park, right from here. So when you're making a voice call, you can check your settings ahead of time. It's very important to check your settings, especially on the computer. Make sure that your camera is working and that your sound is right, that your microphone is on, and that you don't have too many microphones at once. And but you have to realize that Skype calls are two-way, and a lot depends on you, but a lot depends on who you're calling. So even if you have everything set right, sometimes their end might not be ideal. So depending on their bandwidth and a lot of other things, it may or may not work for you. The mobile devices tend to work a little bit better because they're just know how to work it. And Skype is an app that you download. It's free for any of the mobile devices for making voice calls and video calls to another Skype user, or even a group of Skype users. So you can get a whole family together. It's up to 10 people now for free. So you can just have a whole video conference with family or friends or however you want to do it. I know a lot of people did this over Christmas. People who were far-flung, different areas, they would do a Skype call. They put it together. They planned it. And they would open packages together on Christmas. What a cool thing that, I don't know.
Now, why are we promoting Skype instead of Google Hangouts or Apple FaceTime?
Why are we? That's a good question. Well, it was really one of the first ones. It's certainly free. It's very, very easy to use, although I think Apple FaceTime might be a little bit easier to use. But remember, FaceTime is only good on Apple devices.
Right. It has to be an Apple device.
Apple
on both
to Apple.
Ends.
Right. And that works. It works great, but you can't get a bunch of people on that call either, so you can't get multiple.
And Skype is owned by Microsoft now.
Microsoft does a lot of cool stuff, yeah.
But because Skype has been around a while, you don't have to have a Microsoft account. You can just get a Skype account. Whereas for the Apple FaceTime, you have to have an Apple ID, and for the Google Hangouts, you have to have a Google account.
Right. And we're doing this show on Google Plus Hangouts. It's a special Hangout. It's called Hangouts on Air. That's how it gets automatically recorded to YouTube. So we have the reruns that we can do.
When it came to setting up to video call with my mom, Skype worked the best.
And it was easy. We set up Google Plus too, but
it's a little bit more tricky.
Skype really was the best. Okay. So check out our Facebook page, Geeks on Tour. So it's facebook.com/Geeks on Tour. And did you learn something? I don't know. I wasn't listening.
There's always more to learn, but let's see. What I was hoping that you would get out of this is, what are 2 ways to check your data usage?
Well, you can get it on your phone using the app that you download from either Verizon or AT&T, or if you're on Sprint or T-Mobile, they also have, so it's My Verizon or My AT&T. We know about those 2. Another way is you can make a phone call.
Well, there's also the settings. The phone tracks how much data it's using.
Right.
But
and
that's
I just
not
checked
necessarily
mine.
the
7
same
gigabytes.
as what the cellular provider company will be saying.
Right.
So
and I'm at 7 1/3 gigabytes just for this month so far. Pretty high.
Okay, so, and which of those is the most accurate?
Well, the one from the actual provider is going to be the most accurate.
Right.
Because
Well,
they're the ones who know.
Kind of depends on what you mean by most accurate, because on the phone you can see which apps are using how much data. I mean, you can get more detail. But if you want to know what you're going to get charged for, you need to go to the company that's doing the charging.
That's a good point. Okay, what's the only way to be sure you're not using cellular data at any given time?
Turn off cellular data. It's just a little switch.
And we showed you how to do that. Okay? And can you tell what apps are using the most data?
Yes, absolutely. Just right in your settings, either on Apple devices or on the Android. Setting cellular data or data usage, and just scroll down and you'll see all your apps.
Yeah, and if you missed that part of the show, you can always watch the rerun and go right to those places. True or false? Apps can only use data when you are using the app.
False, false, false. There's all sorts of stuff going on in the background. Oh, and I didn't mention there, you can also download some specific apps for monitoring and managing your data. And I tried a couple of them. I didn't necessarily care for either of them, which is why I didn't talk about them. But if you want to do some research, there are apps that will send you reminders, give you clocks and tickers and all sorts of stuff.
All right, then. What's the web page that lists all of our weekly shows?
GeeksOnTour.com, and there's a menu item that says Weekly Show.
And the web page that lists all of our recent free newsletters.
Also GeeksOnTour.com, and it's under the menu of blogs and articles.
And what benefits do you get by joining Geeks on Tour?
First of all, you get access to all of our tutorial videos. Next, you get to ask questions on our members Q&A forum. And last but growing is the show notes on all of these weekly shows. As soon as we're done, I watch the show and I take detailed notes along with links to the specific timeline spots. And those are on our website on Weekly Show.
Okay, at geeksontour.com/weekly show. Now, we do invite you to become a member of Geeks on Tour. You can do that right from our website, or if you see us in person, we'll give you a special deal. Geeks on Tour, technology training. Next time.
I'm going to tackle setting up email accounts.
That sounds like fun.
I know, it's kind of boring, but that's the #1 thing that people use, and I've helped enough people with it to see that not everybody has it set up right.
Okay. And they'll have an app of the week and maybe a little piece of a previous app. We'll talk about that. And we'll take your questions. Leave your questions in the comments on our Google Plus page or on our Geeks on Tour page or on our YouTube page. And watch for the notification for next week's show. I'll probably put it up Wednesday or Thursday. Click that you're coming and leave any questions in the comments. All right, that pretty much wraps it up.
Okay.
Did you have more to say?
Well, just wondering if there were any more questions, but we've gone a bit over. I had a feeling I would do that today. Yeah.
Well, we'll see you next week on our show. What does this button do?
What does this button do?
And
what does this button do? Just keep touching those buttons and find out what they do.